evening, everyone. My name's Chris Cooper, known as the Channel Guy Trader, and I'm reporting to you live from Wall Street Trading's Miami office down in sunny South Florida. Today's date is Wednesday, January 22nd, 2014, and here is today's After the Bell Market Summary video brought to you by wallstreettrading.com. If you have not been to the website yet, folks, go check it out. Again, there's a lot of free informative information on the site in the blog section. At the same time, if you're interested in taking our education course or joining our proprietary trading group, you can contact me at ccooper at wallstreettrading.com or via the contact us button on the upper right hand side of the home page. Aside from that, let's go and take a look at the markets today, guys. Pretty quiet day on the street as a lot of people are waiting for all the news that we have coming out tomorrow, so we can see how that's shaping up and how the markets handle that news. And then next week we have FOMC meeting that begins on Tuesday and ends on Wednesday, and a whole bunch of news comes out next week. GDP, employment numbers. So this week seems kind of quiet, which you could tell so far for the since the start of the week has been pretty quiet. Monday was the markets were closed for Martin Luther King Day, and then yesterday was a little bit interesting how we sold off in the morning and then they bought us right back up, and then today it's pretty much a range-bound pause day. However, we're still holding that higher pivot low that we put in yesterday, and we're still kind of grinding up here towards these highs, as every dip in the market's still getting bought regardless of how small the dip is. Like today, they're still buying it right back up. So let's go and take a look to see how the market's closed, and we'll go over a couple of different stocks and sectors here. We had the Dow close down 41 points, pretty much flat. Nasdaq up 17, up close to 0.5%. Nasdaq showed a nice relative strength today. S&P 500 closed up a point, pretty much flat there as well. And we had 3,791 issues advancing on the NYSE, Nasdaq, and the Amex, and 2,526 declining. So breadth was in favor of the bulls, but not by much. So pretty much a 1-1 there. If I take a look at the heat map, some stocks that stand out. Obviously, IBM had their earnings report yesterday after the bell. The stock gapped down this morning and traded higher. All right. What else? You had Intel down 1%. Apple showed great relative strength today, even though it pulled off a little bit off the highs. JP Morgan was down 1% today. Bank of America was up close to 1%. ABT in the healthcare sector down close to 3%, down 2.5% or so. Amgen, biotech up 4.25%. Mixed action in the basic materials sector, mixed action in the services sector. Best Buy and GME had a nice little bullish day today. Aside from that, guys, things are pretty quiet right now, so there's really not much action. But again, tomorrow we should definitely get some nice action and volume in the markets. So let's go ahead and break down the charts so we can see what we expect to happen tomorrow. Again, the S&P 500, this is a chart of the ETF, which is a SPY, the Spiders, SPY, closed up 12 cents, closing at 184.30. Again, we're still holding that higher pivot low that we made here from yesterday's recovery when we sold off, and we're still chasing these highs up here at 184.94. Just go ahead and call it 185. If we could get back above that level and back over this key trend line from the big channel that we've been tracking, we could see this market start to push up. Again, we have this big range right here between 182 and 177.55 that we broke out of, and now we're basing right on top of that range between 182, the previous resistance, now support, and then the resistance from right here. So we'll see how that plays out, guys. And then when you look at the ES chart, you can see this nice little downward bullish channel that we had in play, that's still in play. We broke out, and so far the back test action, even though it's been kind of sloppy, we're still holding above that key trend line, so we're keeping a close eye on that as well. Let's go and take a look at the Triple Q, the Nasdaq 100 ETF. We want to see how this closed because, again, we had Apple showed some great relative strength today after the little small downgrade it got yesterday, which was not really that important because it didn't come out from a boutique firm like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan. It came out from some other small firm, but Triple Q is making a new high today. Again, everybody wants to be invested in technology, guys. Technology is growth, if that's what you're looking for this year. And so far, that's the sector that has been getting a lot of the momentum. All right, so Triple Q's, if it breaks over 89, our target will be then back up here towards the top of the channel, which is up here around 89.50. Around 89.50, you can see we had this pivot low, this little pivot high area that was put in up here, and that's how we drew this nice little channel that we're using to gauge the Nasdaq 100. All right, let's go and take a look at the IWM, which showed some relative strength today as well, up 0.5%, making new all-time highs, holding above the range, and making its way towards the top of the channel, similar to the Nasdaq. Again, this one, you can see it's been traded much cleaner than the S&P 500, which has been a little bit choppy and volatile. The Russell 2000 has been holding pretty steady. The way to play that, of course, if you're looking for the top side action, would be the TNA, which is a 3 times leverage ETF, or to the downside, you could, if you're looking to take the little scalps to the downside, whatever the case may be, you could take a look at the TZA, which is the inverse ETF. All right, so let's go take a look at some stocks here real quick. Apple again up $2.44 today, closing at 551.51, holding above that 500 level, or better yet, holding above this 540 level from the higher pivot low it put in. So we have a low, we have a high, we have a higher pivot low. Looking for that higher high to let us know that we're going to be starting a nice little possible short-term uptrend here. A lot of the resistance, of course, is up here around the 570 on the daily time frame here. Let's see, Amazon. Oh yeah, Apple. Carl Icahn came out today and said he's been buying it. That's why that stock definitely had some more juice today as well. That's exactly what the news was this morning. So Amazon making a new high today, however, not able to close on the high. Still looks pretty good. Again, they have earnings coming out on the 30th, so that's going to be a key stock to watch. eBay also made a move after hours, as Carl Icahn said said that he owns some shares. If I go ahead and put on the after hours or extended session, you can see this stock's moving up off that news. Just seems like Carl Icahn is the man now, well, and everybody wants to trade what he's buying. I don't know. In any case, keep an eye on this eBay. It has some trend line resistance from the high that it made back here in April of 2013. We had this little trend line coming in, and that's going to be around 56. I wouldn't be surprised if we gapped up to that level tomorrow, that it pulls back a little bit, and then intraday, of course, and then you can try to buy it on a dip. Take a look at the 5-minute chart. It actually broke above that. Wow, guys, so this thing took off pretty hard, pretty fast, off of Carl Icahn saying that he owns some shares. But hey, if that's what's moving these stocks and you can get in them, then I suggest you try to trade them and make some money in them. So eBay is definitely going to be something to watch tomorrow. Netflix, let's go ahead and talk about that stock. Netflix has been selling off and holding support around the 100-day simple and exponential moving average of the daily. And then what do you know? Of course, every time they've been dipping below that moving average, they've been buying it. You can see all those wicks there. And then what do you know? They come out with the report after hours, and the stock is now trading 395. This holds up pretty well. If this holds up, I'm pretty sure it'll be above, say, $400 or close above 400 tomorrow. You can see the stock closed at $333, and again, folks, it's trading 395, so it's up about $62 there. Pretty big move, all right, and it's because they're growing their subscriber base, and all these competitors that people are talking about, they're not able to compete if Netflix already has the subscribers base like that, which makes sense. VMW, this stock has a nice bull flag on the 60-minute chart. It faded down a little bit today, but I like the action here. They have earnings coming out next Monday. Keep an eye on this name, and of course, if you're watching VMW, you want to make sure that you take a look at EMC. All right, then we had some movers and shakers today. All right, we had some movers and shakers. We had, Cree. Cree came out with their earnings. They beat the top line and the bottom line. The stock went negative pre-market. Then next thing you know, it trades positive here. Nice big bar, nice gap fill. Keep an eye on Cree. If it takes out 68 on a strong breakout with volume, this stock can start filling this gap that it has to fill all the way from 74. When it gapped down from that last quarter's earnings report from 74 all the way down to 62.28. And you can see this stock's a pretty volatile stock on a quarterly basis. Look, every time they had a bad earnings, boom, big drop. Bad earnings, boom, big drop. Today, beat top line, bottom line. They go negative. I'm not sure how they guided though, but the stock actually got a nice little bounce today. So a little bit different from the past 2 quarters, which leads me to believe that there may be some buyers in here for the next couple of days. So keep an eye on Cree, ladies and gentlemen. MOS came out today and they got downgraded by Goldman Sachs. Obviously, this was a buying opportunity, and they bought that one up. So keep an eye on this one for tomorrow. Just going through a couple of the stocks that we were tracking today. Red Hat got upgraded to Oppenheimer. See that stock gapped up and pulled in a bit. Nothing too crazy there. See FCX, a key stock that I like to watch to kind of get a gauge of global growth, basic materials sector, momentum, and all that other good stuff. FCX sold off today. It wasn't the easiest trade. It chopped around for a little bit on the open, but this one came down, and gap down, sold off, and then came right down towards this 34 support area, and you can see they bought it right up there at the low of the day around 34.27, so like a quarter or so in front of that key support level from the daily. Why is it a key support level? Because you have this little range right here, prior resistance, broke out, held as support, and now it's coming right into the support area where you have the 200-day exponential moving average and that 34 support. So be careful with this one. I wouldn't get too bearish on it down here for the fact that it already had 3 days down, and it's coming into this decent support area that could hold up here. So I'll track this one tomorrow because they were to sell it off and then hold that 34 level. It could probably get a nice little bounce back up. So FCX, they beat the bottom line, missed the top line. Stock sold off. IBM down $6.18 a day, down 3.25% or so. Gap down, sold off a little bit, got bought up at the 180 level, and then it closed at 182.25 after rallying to a high of say around 183.25 or so. So some action there. What else do I see that I want to talk about? BlackBerry, they came out with some news today that they're going to divest their Canadian real estate holdings. That stock's on the go now. Again, it's back in his little gap fill area. Take a look how the stock gapped down back here in July when it closed at $14.47 or so, and then opened up the next day on the earnings report down here at $10.79. You can see that the stock's making its way back inside this gap. It's really going to pick up some momentum once it takes out this 1160, 1175 area. It's already had a nice run since the bottoming action down here, which got ignited from that earnings report on a big engulfing candle and put a higher pivot low in, and then everything it's just been ripping up quietly. Not even quietly. We've been talking about it every day in our chat room, but some people are probably not even paying attention to the stock, and by the time they look at it, it's going to be at 14. Then they're going to want to buy, and that's going to be the time to sell. So I'm alerting you guys right now, so you could probably find an entry in it and make some money on it. Obviously, it's at this little resistance area, so it may pull back, but if it does catch some momentum in this volume, keeps on pushing it up, we could definitely get up there, guys. So keep an eye on BlackBerry. Amgen up 4.25% today, so it's only right that we take a look at that name. See how these biotechs are looking. Amgen, nice little breakout there. All right. You also had GILD moving today. Amgen has earnings on Monday, so that's momentum in that biotech, which has been the play as of late. GILD gapped up today, then faded down. Still above these rising moving averages, still above that key 76 level that it broke out of that we brought to you guys' attention last week in one of our videos. Let's see here. What else? Qualcomm. Want to take a look to see how some of these semiconductor stocks are doing. Again, Qualcomm, another name that we brought to you guys last week to watch. Up move, sideways action, indicative of a move higher. They have earnings coming out next week. Stock looks good. Excuse me. Texas Instruments, another name that reported their earnings reports. They're cutting their jobs to kind of cut back on some of their expenses and some of their overhead. Stock traded in a range between 42 and say this 43.50 area, and now it's finally breaking out and moving higher. And my chart is stuck. Just give me 1 second here, folks. All right, guys, we're back up and running here. So Texas Instruments, again, these semiconductor stocks, guys, are looking pretty good. We've been talking about these here for the past few weeks. I actually talked about this in my meetup group that I had this weekend on Saturday, this past weekend on Saturday at our office. And now take a look at the SMH trading above this choppy little range that it had right here. You can see it broke out. The back test held twice, bounced up, held twice, rallied up from the higher pivot low in here. And now we're waiting for that higher pivot high to take out that high to get that momentum that we're starting to see pick up in some of these semiconductor stocks. So keep an eye on that sector. Sector looks like it's getting ready to take a lift. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these banks. So I really want to touch base on the banks. They haven't been performing that well. JP Morgan broke down at a bear flag today intraday and sold off. Goldman Sachs is kind of grinding lower into our little support area from the demand zone, from the range where people were accumulating it before. So obviously when it comes back down, it could be a demand zone around that 170 area. Again, JP Morgan, Sold off today. He's been showing relative weakness a little bit to the other financials. And, if it holds below this 5760 level, prior resistance, now support, now we're back below it kind of, so it could act as resistance again. We had this big buy bar that did not have any follow through, wicked out by a little bit, came down, inside action still, and now we're finally starting to break down. Guys, keep an eye on the 5750 level. If it starts to hold below 5750, and then definitely if it breaks below 57, the rising 50-day moving average everything, we can see this thing get some traction to the downside. Let's see what Bank of America did today, actually showing some relative strength to the other financials here. Pretty nice there. Just cruising along the moving averages. Not really much to talk about there. It did get the nice little extension measured move from this little leg up right here. So if it was to continue moving higher and take out the highs, next target would be the 138.2% Fibonacci extension around 1807, which is the next target, folks. So keep an eye on that name. Facebook, what a dog stock this thing is. The stock got upgraded by Goldman Sachs today with a price target of 61. It's still holding pretty nice in this little ascending type of triangle pattern we have going on here. They have big earnings release coming out next week. I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to see how they're moving along now with their revenue streams and everything. And if this stock does not report good, I do think it could get a nice little fall back, nice little drop down, maybe back down towards the 54 level, as a lot of people, I'm pretty sure, are playing this trade for a short-term momentum play. So if it was to, if they were long and it was to come out with a bad number or a number that didn't reach expectations, the stock, I wouldn't be surprised if the stock gapped down. I wouldn't say a lot, but a decent amount, just because there's a lot of pent-up short-term momentum players in this stock right now that, they're not really expecting that type of drop, I don't think. So we'll see how that plays out. Twitter, dog stock, I'm just going to bring it up just take a look at it real quick here. Nothing to do right there. Most likely, a lot of people are going to be waiting for their first earnings report. That's why the stock's trading like garbage. Stay away from it. Better ideas out there. I saw a little bit of action in the coal space. Not too much to talk about, but you have CNX trying to break out of this little bull flag right here. So keep this one on your radar. This one takes out the high of today, 39.19 or so. That can maybe give you a nice trade. You can see me. I'm actually setting my alert right there for my guys tomorrow. Price lines looking good. Made new highs I see on my screen here. Let's punch that up real quick. Price lines looking real good. Making new all-time highs, just taking off. What a B stock, $1,200, 12, 13, 29 to close. Yeah, so some of the coal stocks bounced today. We're still seeing that weakness in the basic material stocks like X and CLF. MOS got bought on the downgrade. Energy space, some nice names. I talked to you guys the other day about RRC. You can see this stock gapped up today, held a nice little gap up here, and it looks like it's getting ready to go. Again, what do I see in this chart that I really like? Well, take a look at the other screen here, which I'm going to drag over. The weekly and the monthly chart look great. You have a breakout of a range from back here in 2011 and 2012, forming a higher pivot low right here, rallied up, held support throughout all of 2013 on top of that prior resistance, and now it's breaking out on the monthly. You can see the breakout on the weekly, volume starting to come in a little bit, and then when you take a look at the daily, all right, this would be a good stock to put some call options on to watch your risk, even though I would probably wait for it to pull back a little bit to build a base. But even if you take a look at the daily, you can see this thing gapped up here, and it finally broke out of this little big range it had right here, guys. So keep an eye on this name. Again, a lot of people are starting to put money, I see, into some of these natural resource stocks, excuse me, that I talked about yesterday. The SWN broke out, and look at that one go. And I'm pretty sure these stocks are moving because you probably had a nice little move in the natural gas. Let me take a look real quick at the UNG and see how that looks today. Yeah, nice little gap up in UNG. So again, natural gas on the go. Take a look at these energy resource companies, guys. APC, SWN, UPL, RRC, FST if you're looking for some cheap action, CHK, NBL, COG, another good player out there, and we'll see how that goes. So have a great day, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you like the analysis and the stuff that we brought to the table today, please like and share the videos. Come check us out on our chat room, mywallstreettv.com. And if you're looking for a proprietary trading firm to trade with, that has a good name in the business, contact me at ccooper at wallstreettrading.com or contact us via the website. Have a great name, guys. Cheers.